You're listening to the Plain Talking UK podcast, the UK-based podcast written by a passenger for anyone. And here are your hosts, Carl Stebbings and Matt Smith.
Well, hello and welcome to episode number 116 of the Plain Talking UK podcast. I'm Carl Stebbings, and joining me in the spare room studio again this week is my co-host Matt.
Hello, how are we all?
We're all warm. It's
It's
always
very
warm
Yes,
in this studio every time.
Absolutely, yeah. Yes, I should apologise. The camera, where I've got my camera, it's like while I'm reading the screens and stuff, I'm going to look a bit strange. But anyway, so this means nothing to any of those who are listening to it on the download, of course.
No.
Anyway, yes, absolutely. So what have you been up to this week?
I've been feeling very ill. I've
Yes, you
not
have.
been very well this week.
No.
So I've been taking various pills and stuff what the doctor prescribed me, which made me feel extremely funny.
Yes, absolutely. More than usual.
More than
Yes.
usual, yes.
Absolutely.
And then I had a night out last night and enjoyed myself
Yes.
until this morning when I woke up and was in terrible pain
Ah, right. Because you hadn't taken them.
because
to,
I hadn't
yeah.
taken my pills.
Absolutely. Well done. Happy
But
days.
apart from that, I'm okay. Now
Yes.
you, Matt, you've
yes.
been caravanning.
I have been caravanning. The caravan had its very first maiden voyage, ladies and gentlemen. Very exciting. Yes, had a little pop out to. We only went to Thetford Forest,
very
just up
nice.
the road. But a great little campsite actually. Great fun, and because it's Mama Smith's birthday today. So,
Yes,
so
she's
we had
21 again.
She is, yeah, 21 plus VAT. Mother usually says, but value-added tax here in the UK. Really good. A couple of things that went slightly wrong. Had a little trouble getting it off the drive, and it started to roll. So I yanked on the handbrake. Unfortunately, the handbrake came off in my hand.
Okay.
And sort of ran into a wall down the bottom. So it's not the smoothest getaway we've ever had, but all is under control now. It's amazing what you can do with a nut and a bolt.
but at least you got there and back safely.
We did, absolutely, yes.
And you had a good time.
We did, and had a lovely surprise. Had a lovely surprise birthday meal in our favourite restaurant, Chan's, in town, or the Three Cooks, it's called here in Bungay. And surprised her with her friends, a couple of her friends coming who they didn't know they were coming. And Geordie and Jill, who you know, so yeah, no, it was really nice. So that's why we're a little bit late starting. So it's probably worth saying.
That's why it's a Sunday.
It
not
is,
a Saturday.
yeah, absolutely, because of that. It is Sunday, the 12th of June,
Yes.
and it's just gone 5:30 here in the UK.
Yes, a good evening to everyone in the chat room. Philip
Yeah.
Davis has just popped in there. Myla, Jennifer, David Corson, Micah. Mash is in the chat room, and scrolling back up to the top where we started.
I feel really bad
Neville
saying
Bounds is in the chat room.
Niffer. I feel obliged to pause in between.
We'll just say Jen.
Jen, yeah, that's
Jen,
a good idea.
that's good.
I like
That's
that.
the best
yes,
way.
absolutely. Although, don't get me told off from the pronunciations.
I
again,
know,
shall
we
cry.
can't do that.
Yeah.
Blimey, yeah. So welcome to all of you guys in the chat room. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday evening. It's
It
very
is,
kind
yeah,
of you
absolutely.
to take your time away from your...
Right. Should we do it?
So we start the show then.
Oh, sorry. Philip's just said he's back from the Torbay
Oh, wait,
Air
Torbay
Show.
Air Show. Oh, you'll have to tell us what that's like. Tell the chat room what the Torbay Air Show
Yes,
is like.
please. Yeah, absolutely.
Because obviously with the things as they are in the UK, air
Yeah.
shows are becoming a dying breed.
Yes, indeed. In fact, there was a very sad tweet that you put out this week, wasn't there? That you
Yeah,
found,
we did, yeah.
And you got a reply from the organisers actually.
They
Which
did,
was,
yeah.
Which was really
yeah,
lovely
they
of
come
them.
back to
Yeah,
us for that as well.
absolutely.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, perhaps see if we can talk to them about it, because it'd be nice to get a sort of like first-hand experience of it, wouldn't it? But anyway, sorry, I'm waffling.
Yeah, no.
Shall we do this?
Yes, we're going to start the show then, as we do each week, with a rundown of the weekly news from around the world and the UK. So if you're ready, Matt,
Oh yes, I'm ready.
let's go. So the first news story then on the Sun's website. This is a story that popped up
With the
this
local
week.
rag. Yeah.
And
Or UK rag, sorry.
we've got some pictures of this story as well, which is quite good. And it's something that's not been it's been done before, but it's not been done for a little while now. But the headline: stunning pics show a huge Airbus A330 being sunk under the sea as a makeshift reef for divers. In a
A300,
desperate
sorry.
bid. A300, yeah.
No, you said A330.
Did I say
Yes,
330?
it's the A300.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
That's the pills.
Yeah, all right.
A desperate bid
Any
to boost Turkish tourism. So the aircraft in question, the A330,
No.
was 300. Oh, God.
The A300.
A300. Oh,
Do you want to start that story
no,
again?
No. We'll carry on. I'll just put it down to my illness.
No, okay, all right, yes. So anyway.
Which actually concerns my feet, not my head.
Right,
Which is a weird thing,
Yeah,
but there we
it's
go. So the A300 that has been deliberately sunk in a Turkish holiday resort in a bid to boost the country's flagging tourism industry. The authorities plunged the A300 Airbus into the Aegean Sea, much to the delight of hundreds of cheering beachgoers who watched the 2.5-hour operation. The huge commercial aircraft was carefully dropped into the ocean on Saturday afternoon. There was hundreds of onlookers on the beach who were gathered to watch this particular feat being done by cranes and various ropes and pulleys and that. We'll get the pictures on in a second.
Yeah.
Holidaymakers cheered loudly as the plane was plunged into the turquoise-coloured water. The aircraft, which has a wingspan of 144 feet and a length of 177 feet, was sunk in the Aydin province near the resort town of Kusadasi in Turkey. The Turkish tourism chiefs hope that the unique underwater attraction will entice deep-sea enthusiasts back to the popular diving spot. Holiday bookings to Turkey have dropped by 40% following the recent bomb attacks in Istanbul and the capital, Ankara. The 36-year-old plane, which will now become covered in beautiful aquatic plants, was brought by the Aydin municipality from a private aviation firm for around £65,000.
You'd think they'd donate it, given the fact that they're just going to stick it.
Now, the sinking process took 2.5 hours
wow.
to actually sink sink the aircraft into the water.
Okay.
And what we'll do, we'll put a
Let's
picture
put some pictures
here.
up here, yeah.
Of-
So for those of
There
you
we
who
go.
are listening on the audio version, if you take yourself to thesun.co.uk and then within their search engine, search for Stunning Pics Show Huge Airbus A300, and you'll no doubt be able to find it. But these are some of the pictures here. As I say, this is as they were dropping it into the Turkish waters there, and it's
We'll
it's
pop
really
another
good.
one
Yeah,
up there.
absolutely.
Map
yeah.
just fade.
Yeah.
And we've got one here of where we. Here we
Yeah,
go. There we go.
there we
You
go.
can see
Yeah,
it
that's
there.
quite the- So this was
Slipping-
after a couple of hours.
Yeah, this is after a
essentially,
couple of hours. Yeah, the aircraft. There we go,
go.
slipping into the water there, and
Brilliant, isn't it? I love it.
yeah, it's just a bizarre thing to see.
Well,
Because it's been done before, it's not the first time. I mean, they do sink ships,
Yeah,
and stuff like
yeah,
that
yeah.
to provide a reef for divers to swim on.
Well, Tall Stuart, who was helping us with the 100th show, the cameraman and that, who gave us a hand with that, he does diving like this. He'll be well up for this, having an opportunity to swim through that, because I suppose you've got a bit of space as well, haven't you?
I know it must
Yeah.
be. It's going to be a weird experience to
Yeah,
dive
yeah.
inside the aircraft. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's no interior pictures, unfortunately, to see what they've left in. Whether there's seats and stuff left in the aircraft itself. I mean,
So I'm just reading the chat room. I can't read any of them out, but yes, I think we should definitely have a fact checker. What do you reckon?
yeah, APG fact checkers. Yeah,
Yeah,
we need
absolutely.
to employ them on our show. I think.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
So moving on to the
Yes,
next
next
story, which
By
just for
some
a change this
shocking
week.
change. Yeah, absolutely. Poor Ryanair. Hey, he says, well, mind you, Mum's just come back from Ireland with them this week. So anyway, breakingtravelnews.com is the website, and the headline is Ryanair expands new low-cost accommodation offering. Ryanair has announced that it will launch a low-price accommodation offer, Ryanair Rooms, from October, offering its 116 million customers the widest choice of hotel, hostel, B&B, holiday villa and homestay options. Ryanair is inviting all interested accommodation providers to submit proposals to become partners in Ryanair Rooms. With Ryanair Rooms, the airline will widen the range of accommodation it offers to customers beyond just hotels to include hostels, B&Bs and homestay/villas. The latest customer initiative follows the launch of Ryanair Car Hire last August. Now, they always used to have a partnership with Hertz, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Because I've quite often I've actually hired a car through Hertz via the Ryanair website, so it must be a bit of a blow for them. Anyway, in partnership with Car Trawler is the agent, if you like, they're using for that now, and it will be the latest digital improvement delivered by Ryanair Labs under the Always Getting Better program, which includes a best-in-class personalised website and dynamic mobile app. Ryanair spokesman Kenny Jacobs said that Ryanair's low fares revolutionised air travel for Europe's passengers. Now, with Ryanair Rooms, we are going to transform the booking of accommodation. More and more customers are looking to Ryanair for products other than flights, and we see this as a natural progression towards Ryanair.com becoming the Amazon of air travel. That's quite a claim, isn't it? The Amazon of air travel.
Yeah.
It also echoes the change in demand from customers for different types of accommodation, which in turn will be reflected by the varied range. Ryanair Rooms will offer from 5-star hotel rooms to independent homestay. We look forward to receiving proposals from interested partners who want to help us disrupt the travel industry once more.
Ryanair are going to be, they're just going to have their hands in many different
absolutely.
aspects.
Fingers in many
of
pies.
holiday. Yeah,
Yes,
I mean, you're going to be able to do pretty
yeah.
much everything from book a flight to everything, cars, hotels.
So I'm just reading Micah's thing. I can hear the advert now. Like our poor service in the air, now you can have the same poor quality Ryanair service on the ground too. Absolutely.
Oh, hello to the Jinx Effect in the chat room. Haven't seen you in a chat room before.
Ooh,
Jinx
hello.
Effect. Whereabouts in the planet are you?
Ooh, that sounds very
Let
good.
us know. Yeah. His profile picture's got an aircraft in the background.
Well, that's
so
a good
I'm guessing
start.
He's a pilot.
Right, that's it. Well, maybe a
Well, like
keen aviation enthusiast.
Yes. So
We'll
hello
find
to
out in
you,
a
the
moment.
Jinx
Yes.
Effect.
Anyway, on to the next story.
Next story is on Flight Global site, and this is another story from this week's news. The UPS freighter suffers nose wheel collapse at Seoul Incheon.
Oh dear.
The Boeing MD-11 freighter, operated by United Parcel Services, or UPS, experienced a collapse of one of their nose wheels on an aircraft during a failed takeoff from Seoul Incheon Airport. The aircraft, in November 277 Uniform Papa, God, my head, was operating flight UPS 61 on the Seoul Incheon Anchorage route. The incident occurred at 10:30 local time on Monday, the 6th of June, says UPS. There were 4 crew aboard the jet, all of whom escaped safely via a forward left-hand slide. Images from Incheon show the nose of the aircraft resting in the grass beside the runway, and an official at the airport told Flight Global that the incident happened 350 metres down the runway, but he declined to provide the runway number. The picture, actually, with the picture, you can see the nose wheels collapse. But you can also see there's quite a lot of damage to the engine there on the side where they've taken the photo there.
If you are listening to the audio podcast, then it's flightglobal.com is the website, and just search in there for UPS freighter suffers nose wheel collapse. And you'll
So the
find
damaged aircraft resulted in the runway being shut for traffic, and UPS says the aircraft had then been cleared to be moved, but still remains, it's going to be an investigation for sure to see what happened here. Flight Global's Fleets Analyzer shows that November 277 Uniform Papa bears the MSN 48578, powered by 3 Pratt & Whitney PW4460 engines. It was originally delivered to Japan Airlines in 1995 as a passenger aircraft. In 2004, it was purchased by the Boeing Aircraft Holding Corp., which was then sold to UPS in October 2004. It was then converted to a cargo jet with the installation of the cargo door, and it has served with UPS since November 2004. That's a bit worrying with the nose gear collapse, because we had quite a few of those towards the beginning of the year, wasn't it? We had quite a few nose wheel collapse on various aircraft, but obviously being a cargo carrier, obviously Miami Rick's the person to talk about with this thing, but he's been missing off APG just lately.
Oh, right.
Yes, we've missed you, Rick. If you're listening, Rick, we all miss you on APG.
Yeah,
so get back.
Hi to Jinx. Then he's the Jinx Effect. He's listening or watching for the first time live from Glasgow.
Glasgow.
Yes.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Well, greetings to you in Glasgow.
Or Stephen is the other thing. Oh, Mr. Warner has just joined us as well.
Hello, Mr. Warner.
Yes, the legendary imagine that is. Yes. Anyway, on to the next story. And he says he doesn't know what he's doing today. I can't find the right buttons, cameras, anything. It is Breaking Travel News is the website. And the headline is Euro 16. Emirates doubles onboard live sports coverage. Now, that's cool. I like that.
Nothing, I'm just moving my arm.
Right. What are you doing? He's in a world of his own today. Emirates is amplifying its in-flight entertainment offering, adding a second dedicated sports channel to its ICE TV Live Onboard, now available on over 90 of its Boeing 777 aircraft. Busy Globetrotters and travelling sports fans can now enjoy more live sporting action than ever before. Sports 24 Extra, the second dedicated sports channel, will complement the existing Sports 24 channel to offer double the live sports coverage on ICE Digital Widescreen, Emirates' award-winning in-flight entertainment system. Sports 24 Extra and Sports 24 will offer live matches and coverage of the much-anticipated top sporting events this summer, including UEFA Euro 2016, which obviously started on Friday. England did really well. Not. NBA, Formula One, Wimbledon, US Open, and MotoGP. Although I should just say that as I'm a big rugby fan, the English whipped the Australians. But anyway, we'll consider. Two dedicated sports channels. Sports fans on Emirates will not miss out on miss out on busy sporting weekends, and will have the choice of selecting between coverage of two events. The two channels will also provide live coverage of the Rio 2016 Olympics this August. This is very exciting. Fans will have the opportunity to watch the world's largest sporting event and cheer for their national teams wherever they may be travelling to on Emirates' global network of over 150 destinations. Well, this really does sound like your idea of hell, frankly.
It does, yeah. We've just been discussing that in the chat room, actually.
Oh, have you? Oh, right,
yeah.
okay.
And Mr. Warner is he's one of my friends there, you see, because he's also in the same league as me, who finds football incredibly boring.
Although, to be fair, Paul has just said, sorry, almost forgot, sidetracked by dinner and football.
Dinner's good.
Dinner's good.
Yeah,
it's not so much the football. Yeah, Carlos and football do not mix, definitely.
No, that's definitely right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So next story on Flight Global's site, and headline, Boeing 737 damaged in hangar blaze.
Oh, not again.
This is in Prague Airport. Prague's airport operator has confirmed that a Boeing 737 was damaged during a hangar fire on the 9th of June. The operators...
It's refreshing because they're usually hitting the hangar, aren't they, with the wings?
Well,
so actually,
yeah.
So it's a refreshing change of damage.
But the operator's spokeswoman says that the fire in hangar F triggered an electronic alarm at 7:30 in the evening, and the fire was completely extinguished by at 22. So 10 minutes to put the fire out. That's not bad.
That's very quick.
She
Very
says
fast
the
response.
subject's airport fire brigade dealt with the fire, and that the cause of the blaze is subject to an investigation. There were no serious injuries to any personnel. The extent of the fire was not large. She says the integrated rescue system was not even activated. But she says that the 737 was partly damaged in the incident, although she cannot confirm the operator. It is currently too soon to reach any conclusions, she adds, and the damages will be determined by the hangar operator, together with the owner of the affected aircraft. Sources close to the situation have told Flight Global that the jet is registered Oscar Juliet India and operated by the Congolese carrier EC Air. Never heard of EC Air, but that's who the jet belongs to.
Very unfortunate.
But at least it was, it's in a hangar. It's not full of passengers.
Yeah.
So
it's got to be grateful for small mercies, I suppose.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
On to the next story,
Yeah.
which is about a very, very nicely colourful airline. I do like this livery. Carry on, Matt.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, I'll pop that up while I start the story then. And that is, it's on the CH Aviation website, and the headline is French Blue takes delivery of maiden aircraft. And this is an A330, which is nice. As opposed to an A300. Yes, so it's an A330. Sorry, I'm going to get told off now. Yes, but as you say, actually, I'm sorry, I'll bring that picture back, actually, because as you say, the colour is brilliant, isn't it?
I love that. I'm a big fan of blue.
The three-tone blue, yeah, it
I
really
like
works
that.
for me. Yeah, absolutely. Very simple livery, I like it. Although I can't help but feel that it's also like a clover leaf. It feels like it should be an Irish You know, no, okay, just me. Fair enough, just me then. On to the So this is the story that it's the French Blue FBU Paris Orly has taken delivery of its maiden aircraft, an A330-300 HGW, and the call sign is now I'm just going. This is where my naivety kicks in here. So is the call sign HGW F-HPUJ?
No.
So
The registration of the aircraft is Foxtrot Hotel Papa Uniform Juliet.
So with the A330, and the chat room I'm sure will help me if we don't know that. So the A330-300
They don't have the HG, don't include the HGW.
No. So what is the HGW?
That's the abbreviation of something, but I can't remember what that is. I should know.
All right. Okay.
Somebody
look that up and let us know. Anyway, so this Skyliner Aviation reports the Twinjet was ferried from Toulouse Blagnac to Bordeaux via Châteauroux on Friday. We'll get another email about that, no doubt. On the 3rd of June, the long haul LCC will commence revenue operations on September the 15th this year, with its maiden route to a 4 times weekly Paris only to Paris Orly to Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic return service. As previously reported, owing to staff discord at the main line, Air Caribe, thanks for this story, Air Caribes, which is a unit about French Blue's operational scope, Groupe Drubel will limit French Blue's operations to the Indian Ocean market while preserving the transatlantic/Caribbean market for Air Caribes. Caribes? I think it's Caribes, yes. As such, French Blue's Punta Cana route will use Air Caribes traffic rights, but will switch to the full service carriers Metal in June next year, when French Blues Mauritius and Saint-Denis de la Réunion service kicks in.
Well done.
Thanks.
You got there in the end. Yes. French Blue. No, I hadn't heard of French Blue as an airline. No. Not surprised, because they actually were founded this year in 2016.
Right, okay.
Their hub's at Paris Orly Airport, and their fleet size currently consists of 1 aircraft. With the destinations of 3. They've got 3 destinations for the fleet, or the destinations. Yeah. My head. Oh,
so we're all
hard work. This is. But the headquarters in Paris, in France. I'm just going to see if they've got any order. They've got some orders for some A350-900s. They've got 2 of those on order from Airbus. And with the density to be announced of those. But so a relatively new airline.
Yeah, as I say, so apologies for the atrocious pronunciation throughout that entire story. Paul's just saying, give me some military aircraft any day. He was saying, because they were talking about the new livery and how nice it was. Jonathan said yes, definitely. Jen Niffer says I pretty much love anything that flies, which is fair enough. And I'll take the little biz jets then. With Myla, and David says he likes anything that flies apart from wasps, which I think is a fair point.
Yeah. They end up on the sharp end of my zapper.
Right. Okay. Yes. Yeah. You're a bit cruel with yours. You tend to fry yours, don't you?
Yeah. Definitely.
You cook them for a prolonged period.
They
of
annoy
time.
me, so I kill them. Next story on Flight Global site, and the headline.
Neville says he's on. Neville says he's on paragraph 2 of his negative feedback.
Oh, is he? We love you too, Neville.
Yes.
The next story, Flight Global, IATA Emirates. The headline: Emirates closes on A350-787 order decision. That's a story we covered a while back. This is about Emirates' decision whether they're going to choose the Airbus or the Boeing product.
So what do they use at the moment? What's their fleet predominantly?
Well, they've got Airbus and Boeing.
Oh, right, okay.
They've got 777s, 380s. Obviously, they've got the largest fleet of the big twin-decker 380s.
They must be one of the few that does operate what I call sort of multi.
No, quite a lot of them do.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, quite a lot of the airlines do. I mean, there are a few that obviously we've talked about before, with Ryanair and EasyJet that operate just one standard fleet. But
I can never get my head around why they have multiple. Like they use different. I suppose it depends on
someone
what
like
their
Emirates,
needs,
though.
Yeah,
they've really not got any money worries. But Emirates is finalising an order for either Airbus, the A350, or the Boeing 787, but does not expect to be in a position to complete a deal in time for July's Farnborough Air Show. The evaluation has now been running for some 2 years, and the airline boss's Tim Clark says he's still at it, adding that they haven't made a decision yet, and he doesn't expect any decisions by the Farnborough Air Show dates. Clark says the performance offered by the new generation wide-body twin jets gives whoever has them great potential. He adds that he's very impressed with what they have to manage to do with these aircraft, and it gives the industry the tool to serve the markets in a very incisive manner, and a very, very good setup and trip economics as well. However, Clark declined to specify which type would be chosen or the size of the expected order. The evaluation includes the 787-9 along with the larger but shorter range 787-10, which Clark describes as a 10H capable aircraft. The focus of the Airbus evaluation is on the A350-900 rather than the larger 1000 or the proposed -2000 stretch, which Clark refers to as the A350 1000-ish, as its design specification is still a movable feast.
Like it.
Now, we're going to obviously keep our eyes on the story because it's going to be a really big news story when this does break. Eventually, when Emirates do decide what they're going to choose, whether it's going to be Airbus or Boeing, if I had to play, or if I had to lay money on the outcome, I do have to say I think it's going to be Boeing.
You reckon it's going to be Boeing?
Yeah, okay. I have to say. I think it's
going
to be Boeing.
I think it's going to be Airbus, personally. Because they love their A380, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. I mean, but they are starting to fade. I mean, I know Emirates are starting to get rid of a lot of their A330s.
Yeah. Are they the 4-engine
ones? They're the 330s, the 2-engine ones.
2-engine ones,
okay. Wide-body 330s. And they're starting to phase a lot of those out. But it'll be interesting to see. I think it's going to be Boeing.
Yeah.
But, there we go. The chat room probably disagree with me there. But.
on the subject of flying, in mention to David not liking wasps, Micah put, you don't like wasps, what? You don't like the women's air service pilots. It's like,
I didn't think about that.
Touché.
Very good, Micah.
Well
very
played,
good, Micah.
Yes,
very good.
How rude, David. Well, I mean, honestly.
So we move from that story on to another story which actually concerns a similar thing, but this time
with Qantas. Yes, absolutely. This is CH Aviation, and it is Qantas weighs up the A350 or the Boeing 777X for long-term fleet replacement. So it's, as I say, quite an exciting story, this. So Qantas is studying the A350-900 or the A350-900 alongside the Boeing 777-8 for its long-term ultra-long-haul needs, Qantas Chief Executive Alan Royce has disclosed. Speaking to the Australian Business Traveller at the recent IATA AGM, or IATA AGM in Dublin, Joyce said the Australian carrier was currently working on its post-2020 fleeting plans, with both Airbus and Boeing offerings under serious consideration. You always look at the options out there to make sure that you're picking the one with the right economics, he said, and we have a bit of time on this. The Boeing 777-8 is not going to be available until 2022 to 2023, maybe a bit later, and Boeing and Airbus always keep some slots back for big brands like Qantas, so we would be able to get availability when we need it. That's quite bold and bolshy of them, isn't it? I mean, I know they are one of the big players out there in the market, but anyway, both the A350-900 and the Boeing 777-8 are expected to operate over ranges of up to 16,000 kilometres. However, while the Boeing 777-8 will be capable of holding 350 to 375 passengers, as compared to the 300s or so with the other offering. The ULR,
ultra long
range, is expected to make its commercial debut in 2018, so quite a bit earlier. So it's good, like good few years earlier, and that's with Singapore Airlines, almost 4 years earlier than its American rival. In terms of next generation wide-body aircraft, Qantas is expecting its first of 8 Boeing 787-9s later next year. they will be used to gradually replace the carrier's remaining fleet of 11 Boeing 747-400s.
Yeah, just looking at the fleets for Qantas, they've actually got more. They've got a lot more Boeing aircraft than they have Airbus. But they've got that order, as you just said there, for the 787-9 to replace the poor old 747-400, something that Nick will be happy about, Captain Nick. He'll be very incredibly happy about that. But they've also got the most of their fleet they've got is the 737-800. They've got quite a few of those in service. So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on them and see what they're going to do. So next news story then, moving on, is on the CH Aviation website. A little bit of kind of saddish news for the poor old 737. But Lufthansa, the German national carrier, Lufthansa, are to end 737 operations in the mid-fourth quarter of this year. Lufthansa,
that's a beautiful-looking aircraft, isn't it?
That's the 747-8,
right.
that one. That's the latest 747.
Cool. That looks lovely. 4 engines, which I'm surprised by.
Yes. That's the jumbo. That is the gorgeous Queen of the Skies there.
Yeah.
So Lufthansa will conclude regular 737 operations in October this year. CH Aviation's analysis of scheduled data has shown. The German carrier currently operates 737-300s on regular flights from Frankfurt International to Boulogne, Geneva, Hanover, Katowice, Leipzig, Nuremberg, Prague, Stuttgart and Zurich, with its last commercial service set for the 29th of October this year. The CH Aviation aircraft database shows that Lufthansa has over the years operated all variants of the Boeing 737 Classic family, including 20 737-100s, 44 737-200s, 41 737-300s, and 7 737-400s, and 30 of the 737-500s. But as we said, they're going to phase all those out at the end of this year. So they'll have no more 737s. I expect a lot of those will go to cargo. They'll be converted to cargo carriers.
Yeah, they won't go out of service per se.
No. I think the older ones may well, but go for a scrap. But I think a lot of those 737, especially the 300s and the 400s and stuff, they tend to go to cargo carriers to be converted.
Mr. Warner has actually got a very good point here that he's just put. I love how they show a picture for a 747-8 when it's a 737 story, which
That's
is
very true.
Which I dare say will have annoyed Nev no end. But we'll gloss over that and move on.
The next story.
Yes.
This was on for those of you who follow the Aviation Herald website, a fantastic website done by Simon. This story was on there with a lot of pictures, and once Matt has finished, if you go onto the Aviation Herald site, you'll be able to see the pictures from inside the aircraft. Yeah. It was quite a mess.
Yeah, so absolutely. We'll put some of those up as I'm doing the story. So it's the Travel Mole website, and the headline is "Passengers injured as severe turbulence hits a flight from London." So passengers on a Malaysia Airlines flight from London have posted images and shared experience on social media after the aircraft hit severe turbulence en route to Kuala Lumpur. Reports in the Malaysian media say that 34 passengers and 6 crew on board the Airbus A380 were injured when flight MH1 hit turbulence over the Bay of Bengal on Sunday. The airline has not confirmed the figure, but issued a statement to say that a number of the 378 passengers were treated by medics after touching down in Kuala Lumpur. In a statement, the airline said that Malaysia Airlines flight MH1 from London Heathrow landed on time in Kuala Lumpur on the 5th of June. During the flight over the Bay of Bengal, the passenger seatbelt light was switched on due to air turbulence. Due to a brief moment of severe turbulence, some passengers suffered minor injuries. Medical crew and Malaysia Airlines senior management met the aircraft on arrival to Kuala Lumpur International Airport. It's a lovely airport there. Have you ever been there?
No.
It was where my layover was when I went to New Zealand, and that was it's a wonderful airport. It really is a wonderful airport, so well organised as you perhaps would expect. So anyway, a small number of affected passengers and crew have been treated by medical officers. Malaysia Airlines has assisted the 378 passengers and crew on board MH1 and sincerely apologises for any inconvenience caused by the weather event, which was entirely beyond our control. The one passenger tweeted, flew up in the air despite being strapped. Despite wearing your seatbelt, flew up in the air despite being strapped down. Kudos to all the crew on board. Another tweet said, the main thing is that everyone is safe. Well done to the pilot and his team. Another said, just a friendly reminder to everybody, including me, always keep your seatbelts fastened, even when the seatbelt sign is turned off. So yeah, I suppose fair enough if you're getting up to try and use the facility. Can you imagine if you were trying to use the facilities?
Yeah.
I mean, actually, this is one for the pilots out there because, as I say, I don't know anywhere near enough about aviation, and I'm frantically trying to learn. But I mean, how much notice do you, as a pilot, get in regard to turbulence? Is it an event that you are notified by in advance, or is it just something that you...
They do their best. Pilots do their best to notify you in advance when there's going to be turbulence and stuff, but it is really up to the passenger, if you do get a warning like that
But when they press the button to say, I mean, are they already experiencing turbulence when the light, when the pilot decides, the captain decides that it's time to put on the seatbelt sign? I
mean, if you go, like I said, go to the Aviation Herald website, you'll be able to see a lot of pictures on there of what happened there on the aircraft. It was quite a mess.
I can imagine.
On board the aircraft.
Well, it was with severe turbulence. I mean, this is essentially my idea of hell, frankly.
I think the idea is put the headphones in, put the telly on,
and just zone out,
chill out,
and maybe wear a hard hat. The sound of it.
And quite right. Jen in the chat room has put that a lot of pilots report turbulence as well. They will report turbulence. So a lot of times that they can.
So
say,
if other pilots are in the area,
has been reported turbulence in the area. Good evening to Short Backer. He's in the chat room. Good evening to you. Thanks for joining us this evening. We've got we're kind of a top 20-ish.
Right. Okay.
Top 20 for a while.
Yes. Okay.
And this one is.
It is the 20 planes every aviation fan should experience.
Wow. So these are 20 aircraft that you as aviation fans should experience
at some point during your time.
See how many of these you guys and girls have flown.
Okay. Yeah. So we start at number 20. Is this? Is it 20? Yeah. So that's the Bombardier. Didn't I do well?
I was expecting you to say Bombardier.
Bombardier. Yes. No, I'm trying to be good. I've already, it's in the interests of accuracy and trying to pronounce things correctly. So it's a Bombardier C Series.
Yeah, the Bombardier C Series first flew 2013, the CS100, and they've got the CS300, which first flew in 2015. This is Bombardier's attempt to break into the medium-sized airliner market between 110 and 160 seats to compete head-on with Boeing and Airbus.
Fantastic. Number 19 is the Airbus A350 XWB, which is extra wide body. Yes.
Launched in response to the initial success of the Boeing 787, the A350 is a wide, long-body haul-line airline that seats between 280 and 400 passengers. Nearly 800 have been ordered so far, and their deliveries have been taking place since 2015.
Number 18 is
its rival.
It is his rival. It's the Boeing 787.
The Dreamliner represents a significant milestone in the history of aircraft manufacturing, being the first to make use of extensive composite materials. Made by Boeing. You can see plenty of Dreamliners in the air at the moment. Those who with Flight Radar 24, you'll probably look on there and see lots of Dreamliners flying around in the air. Used by quite a few airlines around the world now. And the next one,
number 17. This is the Sukhoi. Is it the Sukhoi Superjet 100?
First flew in 2008. And this Sukhoi Superjet 100. Represents Russia's comeback into the civilian aircraft making scene. Manufactured in partnership with Alina of Italy and several other foreign aerospace firms, the Superjet is a clean sheet design that targets the growing regional jet market, for aircraft with fewer than 110 seats.
And number 16 is the Airbus A380.
The huge double-decker airliner become an icon in its own right. Despite the size, the A380 is a very quiet and amazingly manoeuvrable aircraft. It's certified to carry over 800 passengers.
What?
Although the typical configuration is between 450 and 600 seats.
Wow. Number 15
is the Antonov AN 148 and 158. The Antonov 148 first flew in 2004, and the Antonov 158 first flew in 2010.
Is it Antonov that makes that monster?
The monster, yes,
plane?
it is.
Yeah.
Here's another product for the Antonov Design Bureau that may attract the interest of aviation enthusiasts because of its relative scarcity. Only around 40 have been built so far, and its unconventional look somehow reminiscent of the BAE 146.
Number 14 is a Boeing 777.
Yes, the 777 first flew 1994, typically carrying between 300 and 450 passengers over long distances. It's the first commercial airliner to be 100% digitally designed, with the largest turbofan engines. It's a best-selling wide-bodied airliner, and Boeing is already working on its replacement,
yeah.
The 777X, which should enter service in 2020.
Number 13
is the Embraer E-Jet, with its E-Jet family, which includes the 170 and 175, seating 70 to 80 passengers, and the E190 and 195 that stretches to 100 to 120 seats. The Brazilian manufacturer Embraer has grabbed a significant share of the regional market in fierce competition with the arch-rival Bombardier.
Yes, number 12.
The Bombardier CRJ.
That's a bizjet type sort of thing, isn't it?
It's a regional jet.
Jet.
It's first flew in 1991. The aircraft family has made a big contribution to the popularisation of the regional jet concept. The Canadian manufacturer Bombardier has developed different sizes of this stylised aircraft from the 50 to the 100-seat categories.
Number 11
is the A340, the Airbus A340. First flew 1991. The A340 is a four-engined long-haul airliner that was designed by Airbus in the 1980s to challenge the American-made models that dominated the market at the time. Typically flown in configurations ranging from 260 to 350 seats, it completed a segment between, competed in a segment between the larger Boeing 747 and the smaller 767. It was produced in several versions. The 340-600, for example, is a sight to behold with its long, slender fuselage, which is the version that Captain Nick flies. Actually,
right, okay. This is number 10 on our rundown, if you like, of the most basically all plane aviation enthusiasts should see. Basically, this is a top 20 list, and this is number 10.
The Ilyushin IL-96 is first flew in 1988. The swan song of the
quite an old
Soviet
one, isn't it? 98.
Industry. This long-range, four-engined, wide-bodied airliner first flew when the USSR was in its last throes. Entered service with Aeroflot, the flag carrier for the new Russian state, in 1992. One of the most notable features for passengers in the cabins is the young cabin's unusually high ceiling. I'd love to have a look at one of those.
Indeed. At number 9.
At number 9, it's just what Matt was talking about earlier. It's the Antonov 225
the beast.
Myra. Or Miria. Miria, I think you'd pronounce that.
I don't know.
Miria.
Yeah.
First flew in 1988. It's huge. It's the largest aircraft in the world. It just stands out. The six-engine giant.
It's such a beast, isn't it? Yeah.
Was originally designed to carry the Soviet space shuttle on its back, but was later converted to airlift cargoes that no other aircraft are capable of carrying.
A job it still performs to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 8, I think, isn't it? I'm getting really confused now. Yeah. Number 8.
I think it is, yeah. The Airbus A320 first flew 1987. If the Boeing 737 is included in this list, the A320 has to be here too. Although it first flew in 1987, 2 decades later than its arch rival, the 320 has managed to catch up with the 737 and even outsell it. The A320 was Airbus's response to the 737, with its fly-by-wire and side-stick controls, pioneered a new approach to commercial aircraft. I'm just going to have a quick stab at Captain Nick, 'cause I know he does listen to the show. Those of you remember the A320 when it flew at an air show, and it was one of its first flights to show off the aircraft.
Yeah.
And the aircraft done a low, I think it was a low fly past, and ended up landing in a forest.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
It wasn't a proud day.
No, it
for
wasn't a
them,
proud
no.
day, but you'll remember that sort of showcased Airbus there.
Right, great,
Just
yes.
a little dig there, Captain Nick.
Anyway, number 7.
Number 7, the ATR. He's going to email me now.
Yes,
or
he is.
tweet me.
Abuse will
The
be forthcoming.
ATR 42. The first flew in 1984. What Airbus is to jets, the ATR is to smaller turboprop aircraft. In the early 1980s, French firm Aerospatiale, now part of Airbus, and Alina of Italy, joined forces to design a regional propellered jet or propeller aircraft. The result was the ATR 42, and later on its larger derivative, the ATR 72, both widely successful in the market niche.
Number 6.
Number 6, it's an old classic. I do like this one. The BAE 146, or you could call it the Avro RJ.
Yes, absolutely.
The BAE 146 first flew 1981, and the Avro RJ first flew 1992. The British short-haul airliner and its late derivative, the Avro RJ series, feature a very distinctive design with a high cantilever wing and 4 engines mounted underneath. Some versions were called the Jumbolino because of its 4 engines and wide cabin, both unusual in a regional airliner.
I do love the word.
Regional?
No, sorry, derivative. I think it's such a lovely word.
Derivative, yes.
Derivative is
Derivative.
such a lovely word.
Derivative.
Yes, indeed. Anyway, number 5.
Number 5, the Antonov AN-72 and AN-74. Antonov AN-72 first flew 1977. That's a year after me and Matt were born. And the AN-74 first flew in 1983. Possibly the weirdest looking aircraft out there, the AN-72 and its later version, the AN-74, a nickname Cheburashka, because the engine configuration with 2 jet engines mounted on top of the fuselage makes it look like a popular Soviet cartoon character of the same name.
Oh, right. Okay, well, that's very good. Yeah. Number 4.
Number 4, the Ilyushin 76.
That's another great word. Oh, now that's a beast of a
We'll
thing.
put that picture on in a
Just
second.
put- yeah.
First flew 1971, although its primary role since entering service with the Soviet Air Force in 1974 has been military transport. The Ilyushin 76 is capable of performing multitude of other roles, including firefighting to passenger service. The Ilyushin 76 is a reliable, solid 4-engined aircraft able to operate from unpaved and short runways.
Yeah.
Or drop paratroopers or supplies in war zones. Matt will just put the picture on there.
will, absolutely.
There we go. For
Yeah,
those
look
of
at
you
that.
in the
That
chat
is a
room, you'll be
beast,
able to
isn't
see
it?
that
Yeah.
there on the chat. Here we
So
go.
it's got 2 sets of wings.
No, that's another aircraft.
Oh, it's
behind
another one behind it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought that might trick you there.
Yes,
No,
indeed. Yeah,
no.
mission accomplished. Yeah, absolutely.
It's it looks like one of those weird screenshots.
Why am I doing it? Why am I sitting in this seat? What am I doing here?
It would be an interesting concept for an aircraft, though,
Oh dear.
to look like that.
Oh, that was so very
a
special of you.
twin tail. That would
Anyway,
look
shall we
like
move on?
Yeah.
Number 3.
Is the Boeing 747 first flew 1969. Few aircraft have achieved the iconic status of the Boeing 747, commonly known as the Jumbo Jet. Its easily recognisable shape with 2 decks on the forward section helped it gain popularity, but the Jumbo is impressive for other reasons as well. Its capacity, reach and reliability have made it the queen of the skies over 4 decades. Despite the fact the latest iteration of the Boeing 747, the Dash 8, hasn't been a huge commercial success, and many airliners have started to withdraw earlier versions of the type. Oh
Yes.
dear, there are still so many jumbos in service, and that opportunity to fly a 747 will be around for decades to come. The reason I flew to Vegas on Virgin in February is because I've never been on this 747, and that was my first time. But I'm glad I did it now because
Yes, I bet, yeah.
it was good.
Absolutely. Anyway, number 2.
Number 2, the Boeing 737. First flew in 1967.
Wow.
This aircraft is a sure familiar to today's frequent flyer. The Boeing 737 is the best-selling aircraft of all time. Some 9,000 of them, which come in many variants, have been built since 1967, making it ubiquitous in all corners of the globe.
And finally, at number 1.
At number 1, then, it's a de Havilland Canada DH6 Twin Otter. First flew 1965. Often used as a commercial aircraft providing services to small communities, the Twin Otter is a small, solid aircraft that nevertheless is capable of the most incredible landings. For example, it provides services to the Caribbean islands of Saba, which has the shortest commercial landing strip in the world, as well as nearby St. Bart's, where pilots must undergo special training before they are permitted to land. Flying into any of these airports on a DHC-6 is an experience no aviation enthusiast would want to miss.
Oh, isn't that good?
So there we go.
Was that actually number 1? Did I count down correctly?
Yeah, that
in
was
everything?
right. You're right, yeah.
Hey!
Absolutely right.
So what's that picture there?
Oh, that's
What's that picture?
that's
Hang
the
on.
lovely 747. Look at that. Isn't that
There we go.
lovely?
Yeah,
look at that. Look.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those. It's in my top 5 anyway.
Is it? Yeah. As
Yeah.
I say, it's not really any particular order. It's just the 20 most aircraft that you
Neville
really
Neville
should
Bounds has just put in the chat room that he's been on Twitter. That must be a new
Yes,
site.
yeah. Something about tweeting.
Twitter.
Birds. Yeah,
Twatting.
yeah, Twitter, yeah. I have another version of that, but I can't use that on.
And
on
Jen,
the air.
Jen in the chat room, she's flew on a TWA 747 from France
cool.
to JFK. Which is
Yeah,
cool, like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to read through.
I love popsicles.
Main man Micah, loved the Dash 6, used to fly it up and down the eastern slope of the Rocky Mountains. Oh, lucky you, Micah.
Yeah, I bet.
He's got another million stories to tell about
Yeah,
that one as well.
let's hope so. Yes, sooner we get one of those, the better. Yeah.
So that's where we bring the commercial segment of the show to a close.
Indeed.
We've got some military news. We've got a little bit of air show news
Yep.
as well at the end. But we are going to come back with, I think we'll do some, what should we do? Let's do some.
We're just going to do. We're just going to have a very quick break, and then we're going to have. We've got a segment from the legend.
That is
Pilot
Pip.
Pop. Pilot Pop.
Pilot Pop.
Oh no! Pilot Pip.
It's funny
Pilot
you say
Pip,
that.
yes.
No, actually, it's interesting you say that.
Really? Yeah.
Because
I just
know
thought
that
it was my Alzheimer's sitting in.
when I text
Yes.
Pip on
Yeah,
my mobile
it comes
phone,
up with Pop. Yeah.
it always comes
Predictive
up.
text.
Predictive text comes up with Pop. So
Anyway,
call him Pilot
no,
Pop.
we're not going to call him that. No, we're not going to call him Pilot Pop. No, what we are going to do is we're going to take a very quick break, and we'll be right back after these short messages.
Find this and other great shows at the Aviation Media Network.
TheVoicesInYourHead.com. The Plain Talking UK podcast is a voluntary project that aims to keep you informed with the latest aviation-related stories from newswires across the globe.
Producing our content does cost money though. If you enjoy our show, why not help us keep on the air by making a donation towards the server and website hosting fees through PayPal. Any contributions would be greatly appreciated.
Are you an Amazon user? If so, why not do your shopping through the link on our website? There's no cost to yourself, and Amazon pay us a small referral fee on qualifying purchases.
To find out more about the show and to meet the team, take yourself to our website www.plaintalkinguk.com.
Or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/plaintalkinguk, on Twitter via @plaintalkinguk, or get in touch via email on podcast@plaintalkinguk.com. Thanks for listening.
And we're back. Hello,
We
everyone.
are certainly back. Yes, absolutely. Okay, should we get to it? Should we get right in?
Yes, so we have got a segment sent in then from Pilot
From
Pip.
the legend that is
He actually
He hasn't been replaced. No, nobody panic.
he actually recorded a segment for us today whilst he was watching his son playing an interesting game that he's going to explain all about.
Oh, is he?
Yes.
Okay, let's give it a listen.
Plane safety from the flight deck with pilot Pip.
Good morning, everyone. In Plane Talking UK land, it's Pip here with another segment. Now, a couple of apologies. First off, apologise for the noise in the background. It's a Sunday morning, so I'm down here with my young lad at the Pee Wee cricket. So you could probably hear them in the background running around like lunatics playing cricket. Now, I actually prefer their way of playing cricket. In Pee Wee cricket, the fielders tackle each other, which I think is a huge improvement. And then the other apology is for the quality of the sound here. I'm having to record this directly onto my iPhone with no microphone or anything. I brought my little portable recorder with me, but it ran out of battery. So that was rather poor planning. So sorry about that. But anyway, in this little segment, something slightly different. I thought I'd just tell you about a couple of interesting things that I got up to this week. Just came back yesterday from a 5-day trip, and there's a few interesting things going on. The first of which was the very first flight I did was something called a maintenance check flight. I went up to Harden, up near sort of Liverpool way, which is where we've got a big maintenance facility. And the aircraft I was picking up had been in there for quite a heavy maintenance check. It had been in maintenance for about 6 weeks. They'd done all kinds of things on it. And one of the things we do at SafeJets, at least, when we have these maintenance checks, is we take the aircraft up, empty, no passengers, just the two of us. We take it up and we perform a series of tests, testing out pressurization systems and stall checks and all kinds of things. And it's really quite good fun, actually. It's a good learning opportunity. We get to do some stuff that we don't normally do in the course of everyday flying. Now, I don't think this is something most airlines do. It's quite expensive and cost prohibitive, but we do it at SafeJets for various reasons. One of them, in fact, is that for certain maintenance items we have to take the aircraft up and do a stall check. When they remove the leading edges of the aircraft, at least on my aircraft on the Hawker, it requires a stall check following that. So it's quite good fun. It's about 2-hour flights. We get sent a big sort of syllabus, a work package of all the tests and things that we've got to run through. So off we went, the two of us. Now, I'm not actually qualified for the maintenance check flights. We have a handful of pilots in the company who do the check flights. So I was along as pilot, not flying, but I still have a role to perform, performing the checks, writing down all the results, the parameters, engine parameters, and all this sort of stuff. So it's quite a busy flight. So some of the things we get up to, for instance, we check the emergency pressurization system. So we take the aircraft up to, not quite high level, but a medium level, 250. We turn off the bleed valves for the pressurization, so the aircraft starts to depressurize. We then have another valve, a third valve, something we call the flight deck valve, which will supposedly keep the aircraft pressurized all the way up to flight level 410. So we test that. We close down the main pressurization system and open up this other valve fully to make sure that it will, in fact, pressurize the aircraft. And it did perfectly well. That emergency pressurization system, incidentally, on my aircraft at least, takes air directly from the high-pressure compressor on the engine and feeds it directly into the cabin. So it pressurizes the aircraft, no problem, but actually it's extremely hot air. So the flight deck and the whole cabin becomes extremely hot very quickly. So you wouldn't want to fly around too long with that thing on. But for instance, if you were up at high level and you couldn't descend down to 10,000 feet because you were over a high mountain range or something, then you've got this emergency pressurization system which will do the job, although it's a little uncomfortable. So we do all kinds of things like that. And the really cool thing we get to do is to go off and do some stall checks on the aircraft. We actually go up and fully stall the aeroplane, which is great fun and something not many pilots get to do, at least not in sort of jet aircraft. Now, as I'm sure you might be aware, listening from other aviation podcasts, this is one of the upcoming challenges for the airline industry. It's greater stall training awareness. The aircraft manufacturers and the simulator manufacturers have been tasked with providing training which realistically replicates the stall characteristics of aircraft, and this is a big challenge for them. They really don't know quite how they're going to do it, because they just don't have the data. It's not something we do regularly. We don't often take transport aircraft up and stall them. So it's a really great opportunity for me to be able to do this, to have a really good idea of exactly the stalling characteristics of my aircraft. And I've done this several times now. So what we do, we have a schedule of stall speeds that we would expect versus weight. Of course, the stall speed will vary with the aircraft weight. The higher the weight, the higher the stall speed. These are all low low-speed stalls. So we know the aircraft weight, we know what the expected speeds are in various configurations, so flaps 15, flaps 25 with gear down, fully configured, flaps 45. So we go up and we run through each of these stalls one at a time. So we start off with a flaps 15 stall, so we go up level 250, we bug a certain trim speed, we call it, and let the aircraft stall. We pull the power back and just keep progressively pulling back on the stick so the angle of attack gets greater and greater and greater, and the speed starts to drop lower and lower and lower, and eventually you'll get to the stick shaker, which is a little electric motor on each of the yokes. When it reaches a certain threshold above the actual stall, off the top of my head I think it's 4% above the stall, the stick shaker will go. So it's a little electric motor and it shakes the stick, it goes brrrr, and it shakes the stick. It's impossible to fail to notice that stick shaker. And if you've got that in real life on a flight where you're not expecting a stall, that would be your big cue to shove the nose down and unstall the wing. But we're not doing that. We're going to take it a little bit further. But I note the speed at exactly which the stall shaker comes on, and so we just keep pulling back a little bit more, a little bit more. The angle of attack is increasing now, and eventually we'll get up to the full stall, and we'll get the stick pusher. This is another system on the aircraft. It's a hydraulic system. When you actually reach the stall, or just above the stall, the stick pusher will actually physically push the stick forward in an attempt to unstall the aircraft. So again, we have a speed at which we expect that to happen. So we'll take it all the way to the stick push and note down the speed that it actually does happen, and it has to be within a certain threshold, certain tolerance limits to pass the check. So we do this and we run through the whole list of checks. There's like 6 of them, and it's really good fun. And actually on my aircraft, the stalling is relatively benign, except for the fully configured stall, flaps 45, that's full flap with the gear down. It's quite interesting that my aircraft has a definite tendency to almost snap roll to the right. So I've found myself a few times now in these checks with almost 90 degrees bank on and the nose pointing at the ground, which is a very interesting perspective, something you don't see every day. But it's all good fun. But as I say, it really gives me a great appreciation of how the aircraft handles in the limits of the flight regime. And it's not something many pilots get to experience. I'm quite grateful for that. Sorry about the noise. There's a dog barking in the background. So anyway, we went on, did all the stall checks, and had great fun doing that. And the aircraft passed. It was signed off, released to service, able to carry passengers. Now, the other interesting thing, which I did, I'll just tell you about it very briefly, is a radar approach, a precision approach radar, PAR approach. And again, this is something that not many pilots get to do because we just don't really use it very often anymore, certainly not in civil airfields. A PAR approach or an SAR approach or some other kind of radar approach is just not done anymore. But they do still regularly do them at military airfields. And at SafeJets, we do quite often go to various military airfields. And in particular, we go very frequently to RAF Northolt in northwest London, just to the north of Heathrow. That's one of our regular haunts. So we quite regularly get to practice radar approaches. And what is a radar approach? Well, quite simply, it's an approach in which we're talked down by a radar controller. So instead of following an ILS signal or a VOR or a GPS approach or something like that, we're being guided down in both the horizontal and vertical plane by a talk-down controller, someone on the ground who's sitting in a radar room with a screen in front of him, and he's got an azimuth line and a vertical line, and he can plot exactly our position. And he'll talk us all the way down almost to the runway. This is a precision approach, so he can talk us all the way down to a decision altitude of 200, decision height, sorry, of 200 feet above the runway. So exactly the same as an ILS. And again, these are really good fun, something that you don't often get to do in the normal sort of airline lifestyle. So it's quite good fun to go and practice. So what will happen, you'll be talking to an approach controller, and he'll hand you over to the talk down guy. And he'll start off by saying something like, he'll give you a heading. So we're flying onto runway 07 at Northolt for approaching from the north. So he'll say something like, okay, heading 120 degrees, well left of centre line, correcting nicely. And you'll already be at the correct altitude. So, and every 5 seconds he'll give you an update, and he'll progressively turn you left onto the inbound track. So he'll say, turn left now, 070, left of centre line, correcting nicely. Okay, on centre line, approaching top of descent. Start your descent now for a 3-degree profile. So you'll already be prepared. You'll know roughly based on your ground speed what your rate of descent will be. So you'll set that, and it'll just talk you down. It'll say slightly above glide slope, correcting nicely. Or he might say well above glide slope, not correcting. So if he says something like that, we'll have to increase the rate of descent. Or if he says below glide slope, we'll have to decrease the rate of descent. And we'll follow that all the way down, except if we hear something like dangerously below glide slope or dangerously left-right of centerline. If we hear that, then for us that's an automatic go-around. If we're well below centerline, then we start a missed approach. And then there's a couple of oddities when you're dealing with military units. I don't know where they get these funny habits from, but at some point they'll leave a big gap, and he's expecting you to say something like, gear down, cockpit checks complete. And if you don't say that, he will prompt you. He'll say, confirm gear down, checks complete. And this is kind of an odd thing to say. Why would a controller ask you if your gear's down? You know, that's our job, that's not his job. But this is just one of those odd things you get in the military. And actually it comes from their single cockpit crews, the fast jet crews, and actually going all the way back to the Second World War, where Spitfire and Hurricane pilots would regularly land with the gear up, because they're just so overloaded and task saturated, they just forget. So it's a sort of a procedure and a habit in the military to prompt the pilot to check that everything's been done, the gear's down, and all his checks are complete. And it's something they ask us civil pilots as well, so it always raises an eyebrow and a chuckle. And we say, yeah, the gear's down, you know, come on. But anyway, that's all good fun. And something we really wouldn't get to practice at a civil aerodrome. I think they probably do it every so often just to keep current. You know, a controller probably has to do some sort of radar talk down every, I don't know, 3 months or something to maintain that qualification. But we very, very rarely, if ever, do this sort of thing at a civil aerodrome. But as I say, I'm quite lucky, and we regularly get to do radar approaches into RAF Northolt and various other military aerodromes. Anyway, it's just starting to rain, so I think I'm going to call that quits. Slightly odd section this week, so I hope you enjoyed it anyway. I'll be back hopefully next week with something else. For now, I'm going to sign off and wish you all good flying and stay safe. Bye.
Thanks, as always, to Pilot Pip.
That is terrifying. Yes, all right, it was a one-off pilot, but that was terrifying. The idea of actually stalling. I know it's part of the, you know, the sort of like
in a
safety
jet,
checks
though,
and
in
stuff.
a jet, like what
But
Pip
yeah,
flies.
but stalling a jet, that sounds terrifying.
Yeah, it's terrifying enough in a Cessna 150. Trust me.
No, right, yeah, fair point. Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah,
Yeah, but it's part of the it's part of your basic training when you start to learn to fly is
Yeah.
stalls and
Yeah, I
stall
know,
recovery.
but very few people do it in a jet, and that's
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. Oh,
I'd love to give it a try in Pip's Hawker that he flies. I'd like to give it a
right.
try.
Okay, yes.
But, it's
it's
worth a bit more money than the
Yeah,
Cessna that I
Do you
fly.
think? Right. Okay.
So we've
Never
got
mind.
some military news.
We have indeed, yes.
To bring you. We also got a little bit of air show news as well at the end for what's going on in the next sort of month here in the UK.
Or lack thereof. It
Or
seems
lack
better,
thereof,
yes. Indeed. Okay, then, shall we do it?
Let's go. Let's go with our rundown of the military aviation news. Are you ready, Matt?
Yep.
Let's go. So the first news story on the Flight Global site this week, and it's good news, hopefully, for the UK, that we might actually get some maritime patrol aircraft soon, which would be nice, rather than borrowing everyone else's. The UK's P8 decision is imminent. The UK's defence officials are likely to approve a planned purchase of 9 Boeing P8 at Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft, with a decision possible over the next 7 days. London indicated in a November Defence and Security Review that it intended to acquire the 737-derived aircraft, and the so-called main gate decision is one of the final steps prior to a contract signature. To be operated by the Royal Air Force, the CFM International CFM56 powered aircraft are to be acquired via the US government's foreign military sales mechanism. Speaking to the media at Naval Air Station Jacksonville on the 9th of June, Andy Miller, commander of the US Navy's VP-30 training squadron, said the decision is expected in June and could even be made in the next 7 days. Further announcements are likely to be made at July's Farnborough Air Show.
Ooh.
VP-30 operates both P-8 and Lockheed Martin P-3 Orion maritime patrol aircraft. RAF personnel have been training on the P-8 at Jacksonville under its Seed Corn MPA capability retainment effort. Defence Secretary Michael Fallon also visited the site in May to discuss the introduction of the new type. We know what our 6 transitions from the P3 to P8 look like now, and I spent time with the British contingency last month to outline their transition, Miller says. The United States Navy has so far switched all 6 East Coast squadrons to the P8, with their 6 West Coast counterparts to follow in October. On the 9th of June, the service received its 40th of a contracted 80 P8, its total requirement for its 117 examples, with funding in place for 109. So Matt can pop a quick photo there for those of you in the chat room of the P8 Poseidon. And the aircraft we
Why does
saw
that ring a bell?
at
Did
Riyadh.
That's
yes,
right, yeah,
we
yeah.
stood very close to one of these at Riyadh.
We did, yeah.
Last year.
Yeah.
Well, they wouldn't let us on board, and there were
okay.
lots of men with.
It's because they know you leave all the camera gear behind.
Yeah. There were lots of men with various machine guns standing near
they
this
look, they look quite
aircraft,
cross,
but,
didn't they?
yeah.
Just didn't want to go mess with them.
But we did actually. I think we did get to speak to one of the flight commanders of the aircraft. I think so.
Right,
yeah, we had one of the interviews with those guys there.
That's
But that's good news. Fingers crossed. The UK will pull the fingers out, as we say,
Yeah.
and hopefully get us some maritime patrol aircraft.
Absolutely. Anyway, on to the next story, and this is on Flight Global again, and the headline is Boeing targets October test for improved Chinook rotor blades. This is exciting. Boeing is targeting an October test of the new CH-47F Chinook rotor blades to increase its maximum takeoff weight by 907 kilograms.
That's nearly a ton.
Nearly 2,000 pounds. Despite the upgrade not yet being fully funded by the US Department of Defense. The US Army-owned Chinook is at the manufacturer's, is it Mesa? Mesa,
yeah.
Arizona facility, where it is undergoing modifications ahead of tests of the honeycomb composite rotor blades, which form part of the service's Block 2 upgrade plan. Full evaluations will begin in October following preliminary trials the previous month. Once fielded, the upgrade will increase the heavy lift helicopter's useful load to 13,600 kilograms. That's up from 12,700 kilograms at present. Although the enhancements have not yet been approved by the US Department of Defense, there is an acknowledgement that we need to work through Block 2 to keep the aircraft viable, says Mark Ballou, who is the director of attack helicopter sales at Boeing. A milestone B decision on the upgrade package is expected in the first half of the fiscal year 2017. Boeing is pursuing a Chinook sale to Germany as a replacement for the Luftwaffe's fleet of Sikorsky CH-53Gs or CH-53Gs. It may offer Berlin the extended range model, currently performing remarkably well with the Royal Canadian Air Force, which has twice the fuel capacity of the baseline F model. The airframer considers the Chinook to be the sweet spot for Germany in terms of lift capabilities, says Ballou. Modifications such as those on the rotor blades, along with performance increases as part of Boeing's plans to provide more value for less to customers by offering clear upgrade paths for its helicopter programs. Although declining global defense budgets are putting pressure on sales, Boeing is confident it can increase its market share. And while some orders have been slow, it is yet to see any cancellations.
The Chinook, you have to remember, Matt, has been flying.
Oh, it's a beautiful aircraft,
it's been introduced into service in 1962, but first flew in September 1961. it's a heck of a long time, and it's good to see that they obviously think enough of the aircraft or the helicopter to to change things and improve it and carry on improving the helicopter to where it is now.
Yeah, Mike has just said, why would an attack helicopter exec talk about a transport helicopter?
That's unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose it's just, I don't know, trying to get trying to save his job, maybe. Perhaps if people aren't buying attack helicopters, they're sort of trying to diversify a little bit, maybe.
But there's been nearly 1,500 of these helicopters produced since it was brought into service.
Indeed, very, very, very popular. Yeah, absolutely.
So next story on the last story on Flight Globals, and Osprey radar selected for MQ-8C Firescape.
I fell in love with that at Riyadh, actually.
This is the radar. This is the radar.
Is it different?
Yeah, we actually covered a story about this particular helicopter a while back now. If you remember, it's that strange-looking helicopter with no pilot, and the screens are kind of covered up, so you can't see inside. But Leonardo's recently revealed Osprey 30 lightweight active electronically scanned array radar has been selected by the US Navy for integration on the Northrop Grumman's MQ-4C Fire Scout unmanned air vehicle. The contract was signed on the 26th of May at Air Naval Station Systems and Command Centre. Notification says that they will see Northrop integrate the radar onto the Bell 407 derived vertical takeoff and landing UAV. The United States Navy has been searching for a radar for the UAV since 2014 and required a more advanced system than the Telephonics AN-ZPY-4 used on the smaller Schweizer 333 derived MQ-8B. Revealed in May, the company claims the ASAT radar is the first system of its type to offer full spherical coverage with no moving parts. The Osprey radar has been flown on the first Augusta Westland AW101 on order for the Norwegian Search and Rescue Helicopter Program in a 3 AS array configuration. Now, Matt, if you put that picture on the screen there, for those who are in the chat room, be able to see the helicopter in question with the radar that they're fitting on there. There we go, and it's just so strange to see the that's a pilotless helicopter, and it's quite a good sized helicopter, really.
I mean, unless you were close up to it, you wouldn't know that.
You just think it was
basically unmanned, essentially.
Yeah, it's very good.
I have a friend who is obsessed with his radio controlled helicopter. I bet he'd kill for one of those.
Yeah, actually, I've got one in the cupboard just behind you there.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely.
Just behind you there, I've got a remote control helicopter. Yeah. So on to some air show. What's going on this month? Then we're in June. We're fully into June.
We certainly are. Yeah.
And we've got a few air shows left for the few weeks we've got left of June.
Yep.
We've got the Western Park Model Air Show, which is at Western Park in Western-under-Lizard, Shifnal. Which is on a stately home park, which is quite. But they've got the Trig Aerobatic Display Team there. This is on the Friday the 19th to the 17th to the 19th of June. So Friday the 17th, 18th, and 19th, finishing on the Sunday. But they've got the Pitts S1D Display Team there, the Glider FX Display Team, which I've seen them go. Cool. Those guys are really good. On the 17th to the 19th as well, so the same day for those of you guys and girls in the UK who are near Guernsey in the Channel Islands, you've got the 44th Guernsey International Air Rally. They've got 25 aircraft booked for that so far for the display. And that one's on the 17th to the 19th of June. You've got the Shuttleworth Air Show, which is at Old Warden Aerodrome in Bedfordshire. That's on Saturday the 18th of June. They've got quite a few displayed aircraft, some older aircraft there, and with a 1940s feel to the whole show, which would be quite nice. On the 18th and 19th as well. God, it's a busy weekend, this one.
Yeah.
The Western Air Festival and Armed Forces Day at Weston-super-Mare in Somerset. They've got a huge participating aircraft lineup, including the Red Arrows and the Eurofighter Typhoon as well, and also the BBMF, the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight.
As you do.
We've also got on the same weekend. Wow, this is
a really
extremely busy weekend.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
The Great North Fly-In at Eastshot Airfield, Felton, Northumberland. That's going to have a huge amount of aircraft there, including support from the British Legion and also other bits and pieces there at that fly-in. On the 19th of June, Sunday, it's the RAF Cosford Air Show. This is at RAF Cosford in Shropshire. And it's the West Midlands' largest aviation event and one of the Royal Air Force's air shows of 2016. And that's on the 19th, on the Sunday. Mm-hmm. We've got also 23rd and 26th of
actually,
towards the end of the month.
Just going to interrupt you there. Actually, on Jonathan Warner has actually messaged asking if we could promote for him the Wellesbourne. Is it Wellesbourne?
Wellesbourne Wings and Wheels.
Yeah, Wellesbourne
that's
Wings
on the 19th.
and Wheels. That's on the 19th as well. Their website is boasting that it's only 6 days and 16 hours if you're listening to this on the Sunday.
Yeah,
obviously.
Wellesbourne is is the home of the Avro Vulcan XM655.
Ah, cool.
The UK's most complete example of the type, which is also capable of taxiable demonstrations.
Yeah,
so that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. So entrance is free once again, only £5. Sorry, entrance fee is once again only £5 per person paid at the gate. It's unaccompanied. Sorry, I've got the yes. It's accompanied under 14s is free. MAPS members, which I had to ask the question, was the Maintenance and Preservation Society members get it going for free. And so they're pleased to announce that Barnes Coaches of Swindon have chosen Wellesbourne Wings and Wheels as one of their Father's Day treats. Bookings can be made here. Please note that the admission included... so basically you've got classic cars and motorcycles. Bookings for that have now closed. Trade stands, fly-ins and static aircraft display. General inquiries about the Wings and Wheels 2016. Send an email to wingsandwheels@xm655.com.
Yeah, just very, very true. Paul Trickett in the chat room's put an opportunity to get to see the P-51. It's definitely a lovely aircraft.
Absolutely, yeah.
26th of June, end of the month, the Plymouth Air Display. They've got quite a good display of aircraft, including the Dakota from the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight, the Trig Aerobatic Display Team. They've also got a MiG-15 there at their air show as well, and a Yak 50, and also the Royal Navy Black Cats, a team that I saw at Malta Air Show last year. And also the Blaze Aerobatic Display Team are going to be there. Going on then, and we're going to sort of get the first few of July on the 2nd of July, which is a Saturday. It's the Royal Naval Air Station Yeovilton International Air Day. That's in Somerset on the 2nd of July. There's going to be a 5-hour flying display there featuring civilian and military-operated historic and classic modern aircraft types, including the Wildcats, the Lynxes, and also some other maritime squadrons will be there.
I see on the 2nd of July, very sadly, that the Great Yorkshire Airfest has been cancelled now.
Yeah, the 2nd of July, the Great Yorkshire Airfest. Yeah, unfortunately, that's been cancelled.
Very sad. But we'll save the rest. We'll save the rest of July for sort of later on in this month. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
And then we've got moving into July, and we'll have RIAT, which is me and Matt will be at RIAT. So hopefully, some of the listeners will be hopefully at RIAT. You can catch up with me and Matt there. Yeah. We'll be wandering around doing our thing.
We certainly will.
With interviewing various pilots there at the show.
Absolutely, and maybe even interviewing a few of our listeners like we did last year.
If the listeners are there, we shall have you on.
See if we can all gather you together and sort of have a bit of a chat. But that is where we bring episode number 116 to a close. That's really quite scary, isn't it? How did we get up to that kind of number already? If you want to get in touch with the show, you can do it by the usual means. It's podcast@planetalkinguk.com. That is the website. It's www.planetalkinguk.com. Facebook.com/planetalkinguk. You'll find our page there. And of course, our Twitter handle is @planetalkinguk. All of our videos, if you want to watch the show either as it goes out live or on catch up, you can download it as an audio podcast, as I'm sure many of you know already, or you can indeed watch it on YouTube. Take yourself to youtube.com/planetalkinguk.
And as for you, Mr. Tricker, in the chat room, I can pretty much say with 100% definite that the Seething Charity Air Day will be going ahead.
Oh, really? Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, we've got a few friends at Seething who said that the air show is still
going to
going
go ahead. Okay, well, let's hope so, because it was a lovely show last year.
In September.
Yeah.
That's not till
I wonder
September
if
this
Lauren
year.
will be there, actually, again.
Hopefully, yeah.
Absolutely. That's
So,
on the
as
4th
Matt
of September,
said,
isn't it? Yes.
That is where we have to bring episode 116 to a close. Thanks to everyone in the chat room for joining us today. You've been busy chatting amongst yourselves in the chat room about a various range of things, actually, in the chat room today. I will say there's been from everything from skidding on ice to
absolutely,
to driving. Really,
as Pip's fault, he was talking
been
about stalling aircraft. We ended up talking about something nothing to do with aviation, but there we are. That's the trouble, I suppose. That's it.
So hopefully we'll see you, some of you guys at React and hopefully Farnborough as well this year. We'll keep you posted on anything we find out about those shows and what we're doing and where we'll be in times and bits and pieces. But that's it.
That's it. So from all of us here in the studio, it gives me great pleasure to say, or not great pleasure, it's very sad moment, as we say goodbye to show 116. Bye-bye! Bye.